Well, you guys, here it is. Vanderpump Rules briefly pausing production until 2025. We kind of saw this coming, especially with BravoCon being pushed into 2025. Got a lot of things are being pushed into 2025, it would seem. But if the rumors are true, there's some changes happening. So this is just part of it. Now, Vanderpump Rules allegedly is going to come back, and they are giving the cast a break. That's the formal story, so that they can have some things happen in their lives that we can watch on television, because the filming has been so back to back at this point. The cast is exhausted. They have nothing to share that's unique and interesting. So, and Scandival's been beaten to death. And at this point, the cast doesn't want to talk about it anymore, and it's not healthy. And there's a very serious lawsuit with Rachel Leviss against Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval, which is still there. Now, I'm going to talk about some more reasons that this is happening in a minute, but before I do, let me just pull this up. So the world is at this music festival, and Rachel Leviss takes to her Instagram feed, and she dances around in these cool jeans with like a scenic background on her butt, and this shirt and that hat. And she's dancing around, and some of the really hardcore Vanderpump followers of the show noticed that Ariana Madix had worn it on a previous season, on an episode. And they were like, wait a minute, where did Rachel Leviss get that shirt? Could it be that she bought the same shirt as Ariana Madix? But Rachel didn't answer the fans when they asked where she got it. So everybody pretty much deduced that either Rachel grabbed it when she was having one of her, meetups with Tom Sandoval and just never returned it, borrowed it. Or maybe with Ariana Madix's permission back when they were friends, she borrowed it and never returned it. But the fact that she wore it is pretty odd. So we're going to just hope that she didn't remember. But it's possible she intentionally is feeling vindictive towards Ariana Madix because, as I mentioned earlier, she's suing her. And she believes that Ariana sent her film of her masturbating to people, and Ariana denies that, but that's what Rachel Leviss is alleging in her lawsuit, which is why Ariana is included in it. Rachel is definitely putting an effort in right now to be seen as reinventing herself and in a much better place with the sort of conclusion of season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. We see her here with her new boyfriend that she's gone public with. He put her in his profile, so it's official that this is her boyfriend. He's out of Washington. His name is Matthew Dunn, and he's very cute. What about his company? Let's look. So Matthew Dunn owns Dunn Investment Group. I guess they're out of Spokane, Washington. Odd that they list his high school, Lakeside High School, but not college. But, maybe he just was that smart. He just skipped college. All right, let me see. No, he probably went to college. All right, let's see what this thing is. This is making more sense now. It looks like his dad is a wealth manager and has his own company, so he followed in his father's footsteps, and it looks like the Dunn family owns quite a few different businesses. So it's like a family affair, if you will. All right, so let's go back to the Vanderpump Rules pause for a minute. TMZ was reporting that one of the reasons that they think that the pause is happening is that Ariana Madix is not available to shoot Vanderpump season 12, and the advertisers are really hot on Ariana Madix right now. And so they want to wait for her to make a return, and she's currently going to be doing Love Island show. She's a fan of the show, and she bumped the other hostess right on out of there with her star power now that Vanderpump Rules scandal happened. So that was one reason that TMZ said. They also mentioned the earlier reason that I said, which was that they need more time to have things happen in these people's lives so it's not so dry and boring, because there's a lot of, issues. Now, I'm going to call out a few other things that I think might be impacting this. So I want to hear all your takes on why the show's been paused, but here are some other things for you to consider. Lala's pregnant. It could also be, besides Ariana not being available, Lala is wanting to take it easy during her, last trimester and really enjoy it and all that. And so they are losing her. All of the talent have agents now, big ones, because they've been doing big branding deals. So it's possible their agents are trying to renegotiate their contracts. And Bravo's like, look, we need to show them that we don't need them, right? Or Peacock or NBC. And we sort of need to cool their bridges a little bit because they're going to want too much money moving forward on the show. Maybe some people have made demands that the show isn't willing to accommodate, or they don't think they can do a good job. So they're kind of like, let's just have everybody take a seat, because then they'll really miss the money and everything, and they'll do what we want, right? So I think that could be part of it. And they may also be doing some casting. They were originally trying to cast some new people for the show, and they never made the appearance. They didn't get through it. So I guess Scandival probably threw a wrench in that, but I remember that happening. So you guys, I was watching The Valley just in between things, and Kristen Doute's gynecologist was my gynecologist for 12 years. And he's everybody's gynecologist. He does Angelina Jolie, everybody. So I just wanted to do a shout out to Dr. Rothbard. It was so good to see you. Oh my God, I miss you. But he got a little older. I used to have a huge crush on him. Is that weird? But he aged a lot. Dr. Rothbard, you need to go to the gym, because he was thin and everything when he was younger. Yeah, he even was the one who got me ready to have my baby. He didn't deliver my baby, but he was the one who coached me all along the way. So I was so surprised to see him on the show tonight. Well, it was so fun seeing Heather McDonald at Lala Kent's 33rd birthday. You see glimpses of her as the camera's glossing over, obviously, the main cast members. And Lala and Heather are good friends in real life, so it's not a surprise that she was at this 33rd birthday with Lala Kent, because they're close. And that is one of the main events that we see on tonight's show. So it was nice to see Heather there. I wish they had showed more of her and let her talk. That would have been really fun. If it was up to me, she'd be hosting Watch What Happens Live, okay? Just saying.
Who's the biggest gossip?
Oh, probably James.
Who's the most two-faced?
Oh gosh, Brock.
Who has the biggest ego?
Oh, Tom Sandoval.
Who has the worst style?
I'm saying.
Schwartz.
Oh, that's fair. What am I saying?
Who's grown the most?
James.
Who has cheated the most?
Tom Sandoval or Schwartz.
Who has the hardest work ethic?
James.
Who has the highest IQ?
James, probably.
Who of this group is the biggest catch?
None.
Probably, I'm gonna have to go with probably James.
Thank you very much. Wow, well, this season, Ariana and Katie have been each other's ride or die, and neither of them had to ride in a motorcycle sidecar to prove it. But tonight, we want them to prove they're on the same page in a round of the BFF test. I'm going to throw some questions your way. I'm going to count down from 3. You have to answer at the same time. We're going to see how many times you match. Here we go. James and Allie's relationship will go the distance or eventually break up. 3, 2, 1.
Go the distance.
Nice. Hooking up with your ex after a divorce or breakup is fully off limits or one time doesn't hurt. 3, 2, 1.
No, not for me, but
Okay,
sure.
right.
No.
Okay, I too would describe Kristen Doute as an empath. Agree or definitely disagree?
Disagree.
3, 2, 1.
Agree-ish. Well, I think there's times where she's can.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the end, the more successful establishment will be Jax's Sports Bar or Schwartz and Sandy's. 3, 2, 1.
Jax.
We're Jax is as
I love how paralyzed she was.
So one thing is for sure, Sheena Shea is on the outs with the whole cast because she was willing to film with Tom Sandoval. I don't know what else she was supposed to do, but it's really like she really is on the outs. Now, how deep does the Sheena Shea betrayal go? Well, word on the street was that Jenny Ting was hanging out with Sheena Shea and Rachel Leviss at the Stagecoach concert thing that everybody's partying at that I mentioned earlier. So it's possible that Sheena Shea was hanging out with Rachel just on the DL because of Jenny. Now, Jenny, if you guys didn't know, was the one who actually gave Rachel Leviss access to her room so she could cheat with Tom Sandoval while Ariana Madix was there. So it's just a very, and considering that was at Sheena Shea's wedding too, it's just, I don't know, lends yourself to wonder, doesn't it? I did pick up on a little tea at Lala's birthday party. She said that she was fighting for custody of her kid with Randall. Now, Randall's been mainly in Florida and she's in LA, so I wonder if that is the bone of contention is, who controls where their daughter lives and interacts. And I'm sure Lala wants it to be LA and Randall might be leaning towards Florida, and maybe that is why this has gotten so heated at this point. Wow, that's tough. That is tough. No wonder she wanted to have her own baby with a sperm donor because she didn't want to have those kind of decisions like hung over her. That's got to be very difficult. So during Lala's birthday party, we see a striptease like the traditional old school kind. And Brock tells us that he was in the Mormon church until he was 14 years old. So that was hard for him to watch. I found that really interesting. So no matter what people try to say or do, Ariana's not buying it at Lala Kent's birthday, and she's just like Tom Sandoval is pathetic. Sheena's sort of pathetic for doing what she's doing, and she is not having it. And she's made it clear that she has had some sort of therapy based on the trauma that she feels that she experienced in her situation, if you believe that it went down the way that it did. She's had trauma, and she said that she's following a different viewpoint about trauma, which is basically if you've got somebody who's a narcissist or a bad person in your life, you just cut them off and you don't interact with them because it doesn't give them an opportunity to manipulate you or suck you back in. And so she said she was following that mentality on the show, and that explains why she doesn't want to talk to him at all during the season. It makes a lot more sense. So Tom Sandoval's mom makes an appearance on the show tonight. She did know about the affair with Rachel Leviss, but she's very supportive to her son. You can tell even on the show tonight, she's just looking at him perform on stage, and we watch, and she's just enamored with him. And Tom Sandoval has a lot of fans in the audience, and his show is packed, and everybody seems to be having a good time. And I think this was the editor's way of saying, look, Tom Sandoval, in the beginning was having people throw things at him and maybe weren't supporting his shows, but then in the end, it's a rite of passage. He's now okay. He also does seem to take some sort of accountability on tonight's episode in a moment with Sheena Shea where she says to him, listen, Ariana wanted to build her life with you. She did all these things for you. She froze her eggs. She bought a house with you. She did a lot of ventures with you. And you have to know that that was her plan. And you should just shut up and digest that for a minute and what you did to her. And he finally does, which is makes you like him more. And this is Sheena Shea having this moment with him. He and her bond on tonight's episode because he's helping her get ready for her Good as Gold performance that they're doing at Kyle Chan's alcohol launch that they're doing in San Francisco. And Tom is helping with the sound and making sure Sheena Shea sounds good, and because he has so much stage experience. Something else that might interest you is during the concert that Tom Sandoval does that his mom goes and sees him, that girl who's also a singer, T, she's there. So I think he was dating her the entire season, of season 11. And he breaks up with her towards the end of the season because now he's with another girlfriend. So I thought that was kind of interesting to see that she wasn't just somebody like he had for a few minutes on the show. He actually dated her the whole time, or I don't think she would have been in the concert, and she certainly wouldn't have been in the scene. We see a date scene with Ariana Madix and Daniel Way, and she's asking him to move to LA, and he's hesitating because he's based in New York. And he's like, let's just travel and not worry about like living together because like it works what we're doing, which I thought was really cool. He also did not want to be on the show that much. So he didn't go to the group events or any of that. He didn't want to become like a topic of how Tom Sandoval interacts with him. He obviously felt that the producers were trying to force him to interact with Tom Sandoval and watch what happens. And Daniel didn't want anything about, and it's obvious Daniel didn't want any of that drama. He didn't want to be, an unpaid extra on the show. I also think he probably was a little nervous. It is hard when you're on camera the first few times. It takes a while to get used to it. And then Daniel later does so many nice things for Ariana Madix in her room. He irons her clothes. He really seems to have a lot of strengths that Ariana doesn't have. And they seem like a really good couple. And he's really got something going on. Like at first I'm like, I'm not sure if I find him attractive. But then later when I saw them together in the hotel room and Lala made a joke like, do you work out? Because he's a fitness instructor. You really do see what Ariana sees in it. So we see the cast in San Francisco and they're just being silly mainly. We see them on a boat, a very rough sea boat. And Tom Schwartz says that he wants to move with Tom Sandoval. He gets on one knee and he asks him, I will live with you and pay $6,000 a month. So I think if we do end up coming back to Vanderpump Rules in 2025, we're going to see Schwartz and Sandoval living together somewhere, probably in Ariana's old house. But that looks like it's a forward-looking plot point. We see them on this boat, and I would have been so seasick, but they're having fun, and it's rough seas and all this stuff. And then they come in, and they have like some sort of 1920s party that somehow Brock Davies is leading, and the different, they're all together dressed up in these outfits, and nothing really that monumental happens except for the moment with Sheena Shea that I mentioned where she really kind of sticks up for Ariana and says, this is what you need to recognize, and he kind of hears it, and he cries a little, but you can never buy that with Tom necessarily because he's kind of like crocodile tears sometimes. Unfortunately, the boy cried wolf too much, right? You don't know what's real and what isn't. And so then we see that 1920s scene, and Dan Way does not go, even though he's there, and he goes out to dinner with a guy named Brad. And that's it. And Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval have matching shoes from different designers. What can I tell you? All right, so I'll leave it there. Kyle Chan's party next week. There's been a lot of footage spilled of it, for the last year. I'll try to put together some fun stuff for you guys next week as we finish this up. I think we're at the end here. So that's it. Goodbye, Vanderpump Rules. Hello, New Jersey. Well, don't worry. I'll follow it through to the reunion. I heard that was pretty good.